Well, hello everyone. Hope you're having a good weekend. Today is Saturday, and if you watched yesterday's video, you'll remember that I ended up having only basically one meal. Not basically, only one meal. Technically, I had, a coffee for breakfast, but that had no nutritional value. So I had one meal, and I think it was like 1,400 calories. And I told you, we'll see what happens tomorrow. Well, it is tomorrow, and so weird. I dropped another 3 pounds, and I wanted to, oh, okay. My phone had died, but it's back on. Because I wanted to take a look at it, because that seems rather extreme as far as weight loss. So yesterday we were at 316.9, and today we are at 314. That's a 2.9 pound drop this far into the weight loss. So it's like one of the biggest drops of this entire thing, and it's happening here. So it probably has more to do with the calorie restriction. It's been pretty restrictive in the last few days. So basically, it's been like under 1,500 calories for the last couple of days, like the last 3 days, I think, since like Wednesday. And even, I believe it was maybe Thursday or Wednesday, I can't remember when, but one day was under 1,000 calories. Now, for the most part, like I said yesterday, I feel pretty good. So I'm not having any adverse effects from the calorie restriction, which is good to know. And other than being cravey, because cravey is probably the biggest problem, I feel pretty good. So it was interesting to see yesterday when I did my lumen measurement, and again, I keep repeating this, but some of you might not have seen some of the other videos where I talk about it. Lumen is this little device that I use every day to measure my metabolism. They basically have a way, by measuring your the CO2 concentration in your breath, have a way to measure your metabolism and figure out if you're burning carbs or you're burning fat, and basically adjust your diet or how many carbs or fats you're supposed to have for that day based on what your metabolism is doing. And so I take a measurement every morning to figure out what I'm going to be eating for the day. And also when I remember to do it throughout the day, so that I see what my metabolism is doing. It's just more data for them to refine the process. And so interestingly enough, last night I got a 1, which is like the best measurement. Like my body was on full fat burn, obviously because I hadn't eaten anything since lunch. And then I wake up this morning and I'm at a 2. So I still don't know how that works, like how if I haven't consumed any carbs, have a higher carb burn. And we'll find out at some point, because a lot of this stuff is new to me too. But I got a 2 this morning, and they gave me more carbs to eat today. So I have 195 grams to eat of carbs for today, and we'll try to meet some of that. But also, it's a really busy day, and so let's try to make it as quick as possible so that I can get on with my day. And that's usually some of the issues that you might encounter on your own journey, which is like sometimes when it's busy, that's when things can start, going off the tracks. And so preparing for those days, or having a plan, having a system that works, at the worst possible moment. So when you're really stressed out and really busy and you just want to go for comfort foods, that's very important to have. So luckily today I have food to eat, delicious food to eat. Yesterday we got kava for lunch. It was our 1 month celebratory meal. We split it into 2 and made it even more protein and healthy fat rich. And so we're gonna have the other half of that. So I'm a little short on time, so I'm just gonna go ahead, make it. We'll look at the numbers and then keep going. All right. And here it is. Look at that, y'all. It's pretty good. It smells really good. I decided to add a little bit of carbs And because, you know, I was looking at the macros when I was putting all this in, and it was very low on carbs. So I decided to add a tortilla to just give it a little more carbs. And still, we're going to be under 4 carbs for today, but that's okay. While this cools down, let's take a look at the macros for this lunch. So we got, let's see, 1,398 calories here, which is a substantial amount, obviously. And we're doing 47 grams of carbs, 93 grams of protein, and 91 grams of fat. That'll actually, as far as fat goes, we're almost there because we have 101 grams to consume today in terms of fats, 155 in terms of protein, and 195 for carbs. So this only gets us about a third of the way to our carbs, but fat, we're basically almost there, and protein, we're like almost two thirds of the way there. So I have to try to eat something else today. Hopefully I'll remember. I have so much work to do, but I'm gonna have this so that we'll have energy for this afternoon. And yeah, that's it. It's another celebratory meal, the other half of it. And, you know, makes it so it's a little more affordable because it's pretty expensive. Everything is so expensive these days. Okay, let's do it. I'll see you guys a little later. Okay, well, it's actually not evening anymore. It's morning of the following day. I didn't get back to finishing this yesterday. It was just a really, really long day. And also kind of a weird day just because I was doing taxes. And I get in what I sometimes like to call beast mode and just wanted to finish, just want to be done with this. Things happened. So I don't know, let's do a quick recap and we can sort of debrief what happened. So I was working really hard and, you know, like I said, in sort of beast mode. And I call beast mode this thing where like I am ultra focused on something and I just, you know, don't want to do anything else. And I had sort of like to make a decision about dinner. I knew that my calories had been low for the last few days and I was feeling a little, I guess hungry. I don't know, it's difficult to define hunger, I guess, for me, but I guess I was feeling a little hungry and it was starting to get a little late. I didn't really have anything that I wanted to eat here in the house. I mean, sure, I could have made a shake or anything like that. And so it was a split second decision where I made, I guess, not the most ideal decision in terms of food, but I also, in a way, think that it was good for a number of reasons. We'll get to that in just a minute. But so it was one of those split decisions. You know, we had been just celebrating our first month doing this, and I decided to get Popeyes. I know. I was also thinking about like the huge drop that I had yesterday. I mean, 3 pounds is one of the biggest drops that I've had since we started this, and it's a month in. Like those drops are pretty normal when we're first starting out, like the first few days or, you know, stuff like that. But, you know, having such a big drop that far in, I don't know. And so I thought I could give myself a little leeway, do a little experiment, see how I would feel, not just physically, but mentally. And well, there are a few things. So I went over, interestingly enough, I went over my fat and protein allowances for the day, but not over my carbs. It was calorically a little bit of a higher day. I think I ended up with like 2,800 calories for yesterday. But I ended up having a good night's sleep. I didn't feel overly full. I also didn't eat that much. I had 1 spicy chicken breast. I had a large red beans and rice and a regular fries. So yeah, it was pretty heavy in the carb department. I think it was like 113 grams of carbs. So that was not ideal, but it was technically still under the allowance for my carbs. So, and I was really focused, and the whole time, like, okay, I'm gonna have dinner, and I thought, do I want to show you guys this? And in that moment, I felt judged. I clearly you guys weren't, or I don't know, maybe some of you guys might be judging me right now for it, but mostly I was judging myself, and I felt a little ashamed, and I didn't, want to do it. So I didn't do it. I didn't film it. I didn't take a picture or anything like that. And I also debated, like, should I tell them? Should I not tell them? And it was just a moment of weakness, obviously, and that can happen to anyone. And sure, I'd be fooling you guys, but I wouldn't be fooling myself. And sometimes some of those decisions are also a product of where we are mentally in that particular moment. And in that particular moment, I was tired. I'd been, working for hours. I was doing, I know taxes aren't the most fun thing. I actually kind of enjoy them a little bit, but because I'm a nerd. But I was tired. I think my reserves were kind of depleted, and it, made me make that decision. And I thought, well, you know what? I'm not going to do anything. I'm just going to go to bed, rest, and I'll probably feel a little more clear-headed in the morning, and then we can talk about it. And so here we are. I woke up. I've gotten some distance from it. I'm looking at what happened last night with a clearer view. I don't really feel that ashamed anymore. Was it the best decision? Could I've had a shake? Sure, but it also wasn't terrible. I think it's a good thing. There was a part of me that almost feels like I broke a seal, and in the ways of the past, when I had done this in the past, it felt like, oh, I broke the seal, so now, Pandora's box is open and anything goes. And now in retrospect, I'm thinking, maybe it's a good thing that we did this, because we do have to be able to manage some of these things. It's not always going to be perfect. And one of the issues with that, or with expecting that level of perfection, is that the moment that something happens, because something inevitably always happens, it feels like everything has gone to shit, and it's almost a way of giving yourself permission to just go off the deep end and do whatever the fuck you want, which obviously is not what we want. We want a more balanced approach, and we want to be able to take some of these hiccups. I don't even know if I want to call it a hiccup, but these situations where we have to accommodate something else for the sake of keeping going, and then sort of, readjust course and keep an eye on the bigger picture. So I did that, and obviously this morning I went up a little bit. So I think we were 214 yesterday, and I was at 215 something this morning. So went up like 1.5 pounds. I'm guessing because, it is fast food and it's pretty heavy in sodium. That's probably going to make me retain some water. I also had this meal kind of later at night. I have been eating dinner, earlier, between like 5 and 6. So this is dinner at like 9. So again, all of these things are contributing. I took a lumen measurement before going to bed yesterday. It was like a high 4. And then I took another one this morning, and it was in the 3s. So, these things do have an impact. Sometimes when we say, oh, one meal won't hurt. And yeah, I mean, in the grand scheme of things, one meal is not going to have a terrible impact, but they do have an impact, and it's interesting to be able to see it. So let's just try to remind ourselves that we have both a physical and mental approach to this weight loss that we're trying to do. And it's interesting and important to be able to see both sides of it, because that, in the end, if we manage to find a balance between both of them, it's going to take us to the success that we want, which is not just the weight loss, but the health aspect of it, which is something that we can talk about a little more in the future. But the reason, at least for me, that I'm overweight is because I have an unhealthy relationship with food that has developed over a long time. And it's going to be tricky, but extremely important to change that relationship and change the impact that food has on my psyche and my mood and my emotional well-being. So I started ranting, and I realized that the stuff that I was talking about is probably for tomorrow's video, which is also today's video. And also we had the time change last night, so my head's a little off. But yeah, let's cut here, and I am going to keep talking, but in tomorrow's video, which is now for me, but tomorrow for you guys. So, okay, all right, see you tomorrow.